Ricardo de Almeida lost his father and an aunt to COVID-19. He says in both cases the family, that lives in a poor suburb of São Paulo, had to struggle to access health services that could have increased their chances of survival. Ricardo believes the color of their skin played a part.
Se ela fosse branca e obviamente tivesse condições financeiras, né? Eu acho que
My family would have more chances of survival if we were white and had better financial conditions. These two things are very much connected in Brazil. Normally, white people have more access to services we don't have in the poor suburbs. In these poor areas, we notice most of the population is black.
A população negra brasileira em torno de 50%.
Black people represent about 50% of Brazil's population, while 70% of those killed by COVID-19 were black. This data confirms the existence of what we call the impact of racism in public health.
On Saturday, Brazil celebrated Black Awareness Day with demonstrations all over the country to denounce racism and call for equality.
Despite some improvements in past years with stricter laws and regulations against racism and the implementation of racial quotas in education, figures still show blacks lag far behind whites in several social and economic aspects.
Studies show blacks are hit harder by problems like violence and poverty and are at a disadvantage in the labor market in terms of access and wages. This year, the November 20th demonstrations also had a strong element of political protest against the government of Jair Bolsonaro, often accused of opposing anti-racist agendas.
Nowadays, we have a government that's making it even clear the fact that there is racism in Brazil. The movement to oust Bolsonaro is totally connected to the anti-racism struggle in Brazil.
We are here to remember the struggle of those who came before us, and with that, made it possible for the black population to be here to discuss racism and to celebrate important victories we had in the past that are now under attack, like the racial quotas.
Black Awareness Day is commemorated on November 20th in remembrance of Zumbi dos Palmares. Zumbi was a figure from the 17th century who led the country's biggest quilombo, a community of runaway slaves, until he was killed by an attack ordered by Portuguese rulers on November 20th, 1685. Zumbi and the country's quilombos became the symbols of Brazil's black community struggle for equality and against oppression. Paulo Cabral, CGTN, São Paulo.